Hey, Josie Lewis here. I would love to talk to you today about creative blocks. Are you a maker? You make stuff? You make artisan craft fishing lures? You make your own recipes of French style sourdough bread? You make those little dolls that look just like real babies? If you're that person, send me a message, we need to talk. I could swallow the sun. Okay, so we've established you have a creative calling, creative pursuit, you have a space, you've done it in the past and you love it. Block number one, you do not have ideas. You get to your studio, you get to your blank computer screen, you get to your notebook and you are just out. You've got nothing, you're tapped out. Zero, zilch, no magic, no juju. This happens, right? This happens a lot and it's very difficult. And a lot of times, one of the ways that we handle this kind of blank space is self-recrimination. Like, oh, why can't I just do this? Like, it's so hard. I don't have anything to say and this is the worst thing ever. Okay, that's probably not helpful, but it might be more helpful to like look at what happened to you over the course of your week. Did you have a hard week? Did you have some difficult conversations with your partner or child or parent? Did you get sick? There's all sorts of things that happen to us, right? Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are neutral, but they all affect us. And it's easy to forget when you're in the studio that you experienced a whole life before you got to that moment. And there might be some recharging that needs to happen before those creative energies start flowing again. We are hard on ourselves. We are way too hard on ourselves, and we think that we should be able to just jump right back into whatever we used to be able to do with no trouble after any kind of a life change. I was just listening to an interview with this woman who is a successful something. She was a successful something, a creative person. I can't remember what she did, but she had just had a baby who was 8 weeks old. And she was like, oh, well, I'm not really sleeping very much and it's kind of hard, but I'm trying. And, you know, I take the baby out for a walk and then I can bring my camera and I can take photos and that helps me to be creative. But I mean, I was like, listen, lady, your kid's 8 weeks old. You just had a baby. You're probably not going to be that creative. And it's a huge life change. And just get ready for the hurricane, lady. I'm totally speculating about this poor woman. Who knows what she's thinking? But speaking for myself, when I had my baby, it took me a while to adjust the fact that life was different now. And now, 5 years in, I guess I'm kind of on board. Grief isn't just about capital G grief, capital T tragedy, where someone you love is lost. The definition for grief is adjusting to a new reality. There's also lowercase g grief, which is stuff like you move and you love your new house, but you miss your old house, or you get a new job and you're happy about it, but it's different. Or you have a baby and your life is completely different and your single life is a distant memory. And also sleep. Sleep is also a distant memory. Go easy on yourself. Take note of those things. Be aware of them. Give yourself a chance to adjust. Grief is just the process of adjusting to those new realities. Be kind to yourself. Step 2, this is real functional and practical. I have found that the more things I can automate in my life, the more creative energy I have to spend. What this has to do with is willpower. Usually willpower and creativity are not immediately associated. But here's a definition of willpower. Willpower is just making a decision now that will benefit you in the future. So you choose not to eat the donut because you're trying overall to not eat a lot of carbs and fat, even though it would be delicious. You don't want to do it, but it's like for a future cause. That's what willpower is. The research about willpower seems to indicate that it's finite, that it's a muscle that you can exhaust. It seems that it is charged up overnight, and in the morning you generally have more willpower than you do later in the day because you use it all day, of course. Anybody who finds himself staring at the freezer and the ice cream at 11 p.m. knows full well what I'm talking about. That's why I work out in the morning, because inevitably I come up with 8 bajillion reasons why I can't do it later in the day. No change, my day is just as busy, but for some reason, getting it out of the way in the morning is the only way that I can really get it done. Let's say you have your vial of willpower. First thing, what do I have for breakfast? Eggs or cereal? Or should I go out? Or should I have a smoothie? Or I don't know. And what should I wear? Should I wear pants or this dress? Or maybe I can wear these shoes, but what about those other shoes that are in storage? And then wear those socks that I really like. And okay. When you are making all those decisions, even though they're inconsequential and it's not like you're having to like squeeze blood out of a rock to come up with them, you are using your willpower muscle. And so you're using it for things that aren't really that important. And in the end, when you need to use your willpower for something that is important, like devoting yourself to your creative practice, you may be empty. You may not have that power anymore because you used it up on all these other things that aren't really that important. So I love to automate as much as possible. I eat the same breakfast, the same lunch, and if my family didn't object, I'd eat the same dinner. In fact, sometimes I do, and they eat something else. I wear the same clothes. I will buy, if I find something I like, I'll buy 4 of them because I know inevitably that 3 of them will be dirty and covered in paint and whatever else. And so having 4 is really convenient. That's what Einstein did, by the way. I'm just taking a note from Einstein because he had 2 suits or 3 suits that were exactly the same, and when he was wearing one, the other one was getting cleaned, and that's how he did it. Brilliant! Automate as much as possible. Okay, so to sum up, 2 tips dealing with creative block. One of them is the touchy-feely portion of my advice, which is check in with yourself. If you've had a hard week, acknowledge it. Don't expect to move mountains. You're not a robot. Say hi to your emotions, a passing hello. You don't need to linger there if that's uncomfortable for you, but it might be worth just checking under the hood and seeing what's going on. Item 2, much more practical, automate. Automate what you eat, automate what you wear, automate your drive to work, automate your studio practice. If you can eliminate some of the ways that you tap your willpower muscle and thus your creativity, you will have more of that willpower and creativity to spend on the things that really matter. So think about what really matters. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Can't wait to hear your experience with creative blocks. Give me a like and a comment and a subscribe. All those things would really help me out, and I'll see you again soon.